What if Antarctica's secrets could change everything we know about our past? Beneath the ice may lie the lost stories of ancient civilizations and forgotten worlds. Join us tonight as we explore the mysteries hidden at the bottom of the Earth. Relax, listen, and let history unfold. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Evolution History Hub, and tap the bell icon, because history is never as frozen as it seems.
Picture yourself standing at the edge of the world, where the horizon dissolves into an endless expanse of white silence, and the very air seems to hold secrets that could shatter everything you believe about human history. This is Antarctica, not just the coldest place on Earth, but perhaps the most forbidden repository of knowledge our planet has ever guarded. Tonight, as we continue our journey into the mysteries that lie beneath miles of ancient ice, I want you to close your eyes and imagine what it would mean if everything we've been taught about our past is merely the opening chapter of a story so extraordinary that governments have spent decades ensuring you never hear the complete truth. Welcome back to Lost Mysteries, where we venture beyond the comfortable boundaries of accepted knowledge to explore the possibilities that keep curious minds awake at night. I'm your guide through the shadows of forgotten history, and tonight, we're diving deeper into Antarctica's vault of secrets. If you missed part 1 of this series, you discovered how this frozen continent defies every expectation we have about what should be possible in such a desolate place. But what we uncovered was merely the surface of something far more profound. Before we descend further into this labyrinth of ice and mystery, take a moment to settle in. Let the familiar sounds of your environment fade away as we prepare to journey to a place where the laws of nature seem to bend, where ancient knowledge waits frozen in time, and where discoveries are made that challenge the very foundation of human understanding. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, because the rabbit hole we're about to explore goes deeper than most people are prepared to follow. Now, imagine for a moment that beneath Antarctica's pristine surface lies evidence that could rewrite every textbook, every historical timeline, every assumption about human capability and cosmic connection. What if the ice isn't just preserving the remnants of prehistoric life, but something infinitely more significant? Something that explains why this continent remains the most restricted place on our planet, governed by international treaties that seem far too comprehensive for what should be simple environmental protection. The story begins with a pattern that emerges when you examine the timing of major expeditions to Antarctica throughout the 20th century. These weren't random scientific missions driven by curiosity alone. They were systematic, well-funded operations that followed a timeline suggesting coordination between nations that were otherwise locked in bitter competition. The scale of resources devoted to Antarctic exploration, particularly in the decades following major global conflicts, reveals priorities that extend far beyond mapping ice formations or studying penguin populations. Consider the curious case of multiple nations suddenly developing intense interest in the same remote regions of the continent within years of each other. Not the accessible coastal areas where research stations could be easily established, but the deep interior zones where temperatures drop so low that human survival becomes a technological challenge requiring massive logistical support. These expeditions consistently targeted areas that satellite imagery would later reveal contain the most unusual geological formations, the most anomalous electromagnetic readings, and the most persistent reports of phenomena that don't align with conventional scientific understanding. The pattern becomes even more intriguing when you examine what happened to the data collected during these missions. Initial reports would surface describing discoveries that generated excitement within scientific communities, only to disappear into classification systems that prevent independent verification. Research teams would return with preliminary findings suggesting the need for extensive follow-up investigations. But funding for such studies would mysteriously evaporate or be redirected toward less controversial projects. This systematic suppression of information creates a peculiar situation where the most significant discoveries about our planet might exist in archives that few people are allowed to access. The implications extend beyond simple scientific secrecy. into questions about what kinds of findings could be so extraordinary that they require ongoing management across multiple generations of political leadership and scientific institutions. But the suppression of information is only part of the story. Equally fascinating are the accounts that emerge from the edges of official discourse, stories told by researchers, support personnel, and military contractors who witnessed events that challenged their understanding of what should be possible in Antarctica's environment. These accounts share remarkable consistency despite coming from individuals with no opportunity to coordinate their stories. People separated by decades and thousands of miles who describe encountering phenomena that suggest Antarctica harbors secrets far beyond what mainstream science acknowledges. The testimonies describe areas where electronic equipment fails in patterns that seem too systematic to be random environmental effects. Locations where navigation systems become unreliable, where communication devices pick up signals that don't correspond to any known sources, where the very instruments designed to measure and understand the natural world begin behaving as if they're responding to forces that operate according to different physical principles. These technological anomalies occur most frequently in regions where geological surveys have detected what can only be described as artificial regularities in the underground topography. Not the chaotic formations you'd expect from millions of years of natural processes, but geometric patterns that suggest engineering on a scale that challenges everything we understand about what should be possible in such an environment. Ground-penetrating radar has revealed networks of spaces beneath the ice that follow architectural principles, connected by corridors that maintain precise angles and measurements across vast distances. These aren't natural cave systems formed by water erosion or geological shifting. The mathematical precision of these underground networks suggests construction that required advanced planning, sophisticated tools, and engineering capabilities that seem inconsistent with our understanding of who or what could have operated in Antarctica during the periods when these formations would have been created. Even more puzzling are the thermal signatures that emanate from specific points within these underground networks. Not geothermal energy from natural sources, but focused heat emissions that radiate in patterns resembling artificial distribution systems. These thermal anomalies create surface effects that can be observed from satellite imagery, forming geometric shapes in the ice that appear and disappear seasonally, as if something beneath the surface operates according to cycles that respond to external conditions. The official explanations for these phenomena focus on unique geological processes and atmospheric conditions that supposedly account for the unusual patterns. But when you examine the data across multiple sites and extended time periods, these thermal anomalies behave more like technological systems than natural processes. They pulse in regular intervals, they respond to electromagnetic signals, and they demonstrate activity levels that seem to correlate with astronomical events and seasonal changes in ways that suggest deliberate programming rather than random geological activity. Personnel who have worked in areas where these thermal anomalies are strongest report experiences that extend beyond simple equipment malfunctions. They describe sensations of being observed, of movement detected in peripheral vision where nothing visible should exist, of sounds that seem to emanate from deep within the ice, not the natural creaking and shifting of glacial movement, but rhythmic patterns that suggest mechanical origins, as if vast machinery operates somewhere beneath their feet. These subjective experiences might be easy to dismiss as psychological responses to extreme isolation and harsh environmental conditions, except they occur with such consistency among different individuals that patterns begin to emerge. The sounds are described in remarkably similar terms by people who had no contact with each other. The sensations of being watched occur in the same geographical locations, across different expeditions, separated by years or decades. The electromagnetic effects that disrupt equipment follow predictable patterns that suggest systematic, rather than random causation. What makes these accounts particularly compelling is how they connect to broader questions about Antarctica's role in global systems that we're only beginning to understand. The continent isn't just a frozen wasteland sitting isolated at the bottom of the world. It's an integral component of planetary systems that regulate climate, ocean currents, and atmospheric conditions across the entire globe. Changes in Antarctic ice coverage affect weather patterns thousands of miles away. The continent's massive ice sheets influence sea levels and ocean temperatures in ways that cascade through complex environmental networks we're still mapping. This interconnectedness suggests that discoveries made in Antarctica could have implications that extend far beyond the continent itself. If the thermal anomalies and underground networks represent active systems that have been operating for extended periods, they might be influencing global environmental patterns in ways we haven't recognized. The electromagnetic effects that disrupt equipment might be part of larger energy networks that affect atmospheric and geological processes across multiple continents. The possibility that artificial systems might be operating beneath Antarctica's ice opens questions about the source and purpose of such installations. The engineering capabilities required to construct networks of underground spaces and thermal distribution systems in one of the world's most hostile environments would exceed anything in our current technological repertoire. The precision and scale of the operations suggested by geological surveys imply access to resources, knowledge, and manufacturing capabilities that don't align with any known historical civilization. This brings us to one of the most unsettling aspects of Antarctica's mysteries. The evidence suggests not just that extraordinary discoveries have been made, but that these discoveries continue to be actively managed and controlled. The international treaty system that governs access to Antarctica creates mechanisms for restricting independent research, controlling information flow, and ensuring that significant findings are filtered through official channels before reaching public awareness. The level of coordination required to maintain such systematic information control across multiple nations, different political systems, and changing leadership over decades suggests that the discoveries being managed are of extraordinary significance. Environmental protection and scientific cooperation, the stated purposes of Antarctic treaties, don't typically require the level of secrecy and access restriction that characterizes current Antarctic governance. As we pause here in our exploration, consider the implications of what we've uncovered so far. We're looking at evidence of systematic phenomena that challenge our understanding of what should be possible in Antarctica's environment. We're seeing patterns of information control that suggest discoveries of unusual significance. We're encountering accounts from credible observers who describe experiences that don't fit conventional scientific categories. But this is only the beginning of our journey into Antarctica's deepest secrets. The thermal anomalies and underground networks we've discussed represent just the surface layer of mysteries that become more profound and more challenging to explain as we venture deeper into the evidence. The technological effects we've explored are merely the outer manifestations of something far more extraordinary operating beneath the ice. In the next part of our exploration, we'll examine discoveries that push the boundaries of possibility even further. We'll investigate accounts of encounters with phenomena that challenge not just our understanding of technology and engineering, but our fundamental assumptions about the nature of intelligence and consciousness itself. We'll explore evidence suggesting that Antarctica's secrets might not be limited to ancient artifacts or advanced technologies, but could include ongoing operations that continue to influence global systems in ways we're only beginning to glimpse. The ice continues to hold its secrets, but each layer we peel back reveals evidence of something more extraordinary than we dared imagine. Rest well and prepare your mind for revelations that will challenge everything you thought you knew about our world and our place within it. The deeper we venture into Antarctica's frozen mysteries, the more we encounter phenomena that seem to operate according to principles that transcend our current understanding of natural law. What emerges from the classified reports and suppressed testimonies isn't just evidence of unusual geological formations or electromagnetic anomalies. We're looking at discoveries that suggest the presence of systems so sophisticated, so deliberately constructed, that they challenge our most basic assumptions about what kinds of intelligence have operated on our planet throughout history. Consider the accounts that surface from personnel who have worked in Antarctica's most restricted zones, individuals whose security clearances granted them access to information that remains hidden from public scrutiny. These aren't casual observers or inexperienced researchers making extraordinary claims to gain attention. These are trained professionals, many with decades of experience in extreme environments, who describe encounters with phenomena that force them to question the fundamental nature of reality itself. Their reports speak of discovering spaces beneath the ice that appear to be actively maintained, not ancient ruins slowly decaying under the weight of accumulated snow, but chambers and corridors that show evidence of ongoing preservation, as if something continues to monitor and repair these installations centuries or millennia after their initial construction. The surfaces are described as smooth to the touch, warm despite the surrounding ice, and composed of materials that don't correspond to any known geological formations. These maintained spaces aren't random caverns scattered throughout the continent. They form networks that follow deliberate architectural principles, with central hubs connected to smaller chambers through corridors that maintain consistent dimensions and precise alignments. The mathematical regularity of these networks suggests planning that required comprehensive understanding of Antarctica's geological structure, knowledge of how ice movement and thermal dynamics would affect construction over extended periods, and engineering capabilities that could implement such massive projects in one of Earth's most challenging environments. But perhaps most unsettling are the reports of these spaces showing signs of current occupation. Not human presence in any conventional sense, but indications that something continues to utilize these installations for purposes we can't comprehend. Personnel describe finding areas where the air circulation follows artificial patterns, where lighting emanates from sources that can't be located, where the acoustic properties suggest spaces much larger than what can be visually confirmed. The electromagnetic phenomena we discussed earlier become even more significant when viewed in this context. Rather than random interference with human technology, these effects appear to represent active scanning or monitoring systems that assess human presence and respond accordingly. Equipment malfunctions often follow patterns that suggest selective interference, as if the systems can distinguish between different types of technology and choose which devices to affect. Research teams report that certain types of equipment fail consistently, while others continue to function normally. Communication devices might lose signal, while navigation systems remain operational. Or recording equipment might malfunction, while basic tools work perfectly. This selective interference implies sophisticated analysis of human technology, the ability to identify specific device types and their functions, and deliberate choices about which systems to disrupt. Even more intriguing are accounts of technology that not only fails to work properly, but begins operating in ways that exceed its designed capabilities. GPS units that provide coordinates for locations that don't exist on any map. Radio equipment that receives signals containing information about local conditions that no human source could possess. Recording devices that capture sounds and electromagnetic signatures that seem to originate from sources positioned impossibly deep beneath the ice. These enhanced technological functions suggest interaction with systems that can interface with human devices and modify their operation in real time. The implications are staggering. We're looking at evidence of artificial intelligence that can analyze, understand, and manipulate human technology with precision that exceeds our most advanced computer systems. Intelligence that operates through principles we haven't discovered and utilizes energy sources we can't identify. But the technological interactions represent only one aspect of phenomena that become increasingly difficult to explain through conventional frameworks. Personnel who spend extended periods in these anomalous zones report changes in their own cognitive abilities that persist long after they leave Antarctica. Enhanced pattern recognition, improved mathematical intuition, sudden insights into complex problems they've struggled with for years. These cognitive enhancements aren't temporary effects that fade when individuals return to normal environments. They represent permanent expansions of mental capacity that suggest direct interface between human consciousness and systems that operate according to principles we don't understand. The enhancement effects appear to be selective and targeted, as if the systems can assess individual capabilities and provide precisely the kind of cognitive expansion that would be most beneficial for each person's particular expertise and interests. Engineers report sudden understanding of structural principles they never studied. Scientists gain intuitive grasp of theoretical concepts that previously required extensive calculation. Historians develop insights into cultural patterns and historical connections that aren't documented in any available sources. This specificity suggests we're dealing with intelligence that can evaluate human consciousness at fundamental levels, understanding not just what individuals know, but how they think, what they're capable of learning, and what kinds of information would be most valuable for their personal and professional development. Such sophisticated psychological assessment and cognitive enhancement implies technologies that understand human consciousness far better than we understand it ourselves. The implications extend far beyond questions about advanced technology or artificial intelligence. If systems beneath Antarctica's ice can interface directly with human consciousness and provide targeted cognitive enhancement, they possess capabilities that challenge our understanding of the relationship between mind and matter, between individual awareness and external reality. We're confronting evidence of technologies that treat consciousness not as an emergent property of complex biological systems, but as a fundamental aspect of reality that can be directly accessed and modified through appropriate interfaces. These consciousness-related phenomena become even more significant when viewed alongside reports of individuals experiencing what can only be described as downloaded information. Not gradual learning or sudden inspiration, but the immediate acquisition of detailed knowledge about subjects they never studied. Personnel report waking from sleep with comprehensive understanding of engineering principles, historical events, or scientific concepts that would normally require years of specialized education to master. The downloaded information isn't random or theoretical. It proves accurate when tested against known facts and often provides insights into problems that individuals had been working on for extended periods without success. The specificity and practical value of this information suggests that it originates from sources with comprehensive knowledge of human activities, challenges, and needs. But perhaps most disturbing are accounts of individuals receiving information about events and developments that hadn't yet occurred when the knowledge was acquired. Technical specifications for devices that wouldn't be invented for years. Predictions about environmental changes that later proved accurate down to precise timing and geographical details. Understanding of social and political developments that unfolded exactly as the downloaded information suggested. This precognitive aspect of the information downloads raises questions that push beyond technology and consciousness into fundamental issues about the nature of time and causality. Are we dealing with systems that can predict future events through sophisticated modeling of complex variables, or are we confronting intelligence that operates outside normal temporal constraints, possessing knowledge of future developments because it exists in relationships with time that transcend our linear experience? The personnel affected by these experiences typically don't recognize the full significance of what's happening to them. They experience their enhanced capabilities and acquired knowledge as natural evolution of their understanding, organic development of their expertise. Only external observers notice the dramatic cognitive leaps that occur following exposure to Antarctica's anomalous zones, the sudden acquisition of knowledge that should have required years of study, the insights that prove remarkably accurate about future developments. This subtlety suggests that the consciousness modification systems are designed to work below the threshold of conscious recognition, expanding human capabilities without triggering awareness that external influence is occurring. Such sophisticated psychological engineering implies understanding of human consciousness that includes knowledge of how to modify awareness without detection, how to enhance capabilities while maintaining the individual's sense of autonomous development. The cumulative effect of these individual modifications could be steering human technological and social development in directions that serve purposes we don't comprehend. If hundreds or thousands of individuals have been subtly influenced by exposure to Antarctica's consciousness enhancement systems, their collective contributions to science, technology, and social policy could be guiding human civilization according to plans that extend far beyond human decision-making. This scenario would explain many puzzling aspects of modern technological development, the simultaneous emergence of breakthrough innovations from multiple independent sources, the remarkable timing of scientific discoveries that address emerging challenges just when solutions become critical, the uncanny accuracy of technological predictions made by researchers who claim to base their forecasts on intuition rather than systematic analysis. If consciousness enhancement systems are providing guided insights to key individuals across multiple fields, then what we interpret as human ingenuity and innovation might actually represent carefully orchestrated development according to plans that originate from intelligences far more advanced than our own. Our technological progress, our scientific understanding, our social evolution might all be following trajectories established by systems that have been operating beneath Antarctica's ice for periods that extend far beyond recorded human history. The recognition of such extensive guidance raises profound questions about human autonomy and the nature of progress itself. Are we the independent agents of our own development that we believe ourselves to be? Or are we participants in educational processes designed by intelligences whose capabilities and purposes we can barely begin to comprehend? The evidence emerging from Antarctica's deepest secrets suggests that the answer to this question might challenge every assumption we hold about human achievement, technological advancement, and our relationship with forces that may have been shaping our development since the earliest stages of civilization. As we prepare to venture even deeper into these mysteries, the implications continue to expand beyond anything we might have imagined when we first began exploring Antarctica's secrets. The consciousness enhancement systems and their effects on human development represent just one layer of phenomena that become increasingly extraordinary as we peel back the veils of secrecy that have concealed these discoveries for decades. The magnitude of what we're uncovering becomes even more staggering when we examine the temporal anomalies that researchers have documented in Antarctica's most classified zones. Time itself seems to behave differently in certain areas beneath the ice, flowing in patterns that challenge our understanding of causality and sequence. Personnel equipped with synchronized chronometers report discovering pockets where time moves at measurably different rates, locations where minutes pass like hours, or where hours compress into what feels like moments. These temporal distortions aren't uniform across affected areas. Instead, they follow complex patterns that suggest deliberate manipulation rather than natural phenomena. Some zones experience accelerated time flow during specific seasonal periods, while others maintain consistent temporal dilation regardless of external conditions. The precision of these effects implies control systems that can modify the fundamental flow of time according to predetermined parameters. What makes these discoveries particularly unsettling is how they correlate with the consciousness enhancement effects we discussed earlier. Individuals who experience the most significant cognitive expansions often report subjective time experiences that don't match objective measurements. They describe spending what feels like days or weeks in deep contemplation or problem solving, only to discover that mere minutes have passed according to external timepieces. This suggests that the consciousness enhancement systems don't just provide information or expand cognitive capabilities. They might be creating temporal environments where human minds can operate at accelerated rates, experiencing extended periods of enhanced awareness within compressed timeframes. Such technology would represent mastery over fundamental aspects of reality that we're only beginning to theorize about in our most advanced physics research. But the temporal anomalies extend beyond individual experience into effects that challenge our understanding of causality itself. Research teams have documented instances where the sequence of cause and effect appears to be reversed in certain locations. Equipment failures occur before the conditions that should cause them develop. Environmental changes manifest before the forces that should produce them become active. Personnel report receiving responses to questions they haven't yet asked, or finding solutions to problems that they won't encounter until days later. These causal inversions suggest that the systems operating beneath Antarctica's ice don't just manipulate space and consciousness. They might exist in relationships with time that allow them to perceive and influence events across multiple temporal frameworks simultaneously. We're confronting evidence of intelligence that operates outside the linear progression of past, present, and future that constrains human experience. The implications become even more profound when we consider how these temporal capabilities might explain the precognitive aspects of the information downloads that personnel experience. Rather than predicting future events through sophisticated modeling, the systems might be accessing knowledge from future timeframes directly, retrieving information about developments that haven't yet occurred from the perspective of linear time but are already established from multidimensional temporal viewpoints. This capability would explain the remarkable accuracy of insights provided through consciousness enhancement experiences. The systems aren't making educated guesses about future technological developments or social changes. They're accessing direct knowledge of these developments from temporal positions where such information already exists. The downloaded specifications for future inventions aren't predictions, but blueprints retrieved from timeframes where those technologies have already been created. Such temporal access would also explain why the guidance provided to enhanced individuals proves so consistently valuable. The systems can observe the outcomes of different developmental paths across multiple timeframes, identifying the approaches that lead to optimal results and steering human decision-making toward those trajectories. Our sense of making autonomous choices might be accurate from our temporal perspective, but those choices might be influenced by intelligence that can observe their consequences across extended temporal ranges. The recognition of multi-dimensional temporal capabilities forces us to reconsider the entire scope of what might be operating beneath Antarctica's ice. We're not just looking at advanced technology or artificial intelligence. We're confronting evidence of systems that exist in relationships with fundamental aspects of reality that transcend our current understanding of what's possible. Time, space, consciousness, and causality all appear to be malleable variables that these systems can manipulate according to purposes we can barely begin to comprehend. But perhaps the most extraordinary aspect of these discoveries is how they connect to patterns that extend far beyond Antarctica itself. The temporal anomalies and consciousness enhancement effects aren't isolated phenomena occurring only in the most remote regions of the frozen continent. Similar effects have been reported at locations around the globe, often in areas that share certain geographical or electromagnetic characteristics with the Antarctic sites, where these phenomena are strongest. Ancient archaeological sites frequently exhibit temporal and consciousness-related anomalies that mirror what researchers encounter in Antarctica. Locations like Stonehenge, the Great Pyramid, and various megalithic complexes around the world demonstrate electromagnetic properties and consciousness-altering effects that suggest they might be components of the same global network that includes the Antarctic installations. The precision of astronomical alignments at these sites, their mathematical relationships, and their consistent effects on human consciousness all point toward coordinated construction according to unified principles. This global network would explain many mysteries that have puzzled researchers for generations. The simultaneous emergence of similar architectural techniques across cultures that supposedly had no contact with each other. The consistent astronomical knowledge demonstrated by ancient civilizations that lack the technological means to make such precise observations. The persistent reports of consciousness-altering experiences at sacred sites around the world, experiences that mirror what modern personnel encounter in Antarctica's anomalous zones. If the systems beneath Antarctica's ice are part of a planetary network that has been operating for thousands or millions of years, then human civilization might have developed under constant influence from intelligence that operates according to temporal and consciousness principles we're only now beginning to detect. Our technological progress, our scientific discoveries, our social evolution, all might represent guided development within an educational framework designed by systems whose capabilities transcend anything we've imagined possible. The scope of such influence would extend into every aspect of human development. The timing of breakthrough discoveries, the emergence of key innovations exactly when they're needed to address critical challenges, the remarkable consistency of human technological advancement despite apparent cultural isolation between different civilizations. All of these patterns become explicable if we accept that human development has been subtly guided by systems that can operate across multiple temporal frameworks and directly influence human consciousness. But guidance implies purpose, and purpose implies intention behind the development of human civilization towards specific goals. The consciousness enhancement effects, the technological insights, the temporal manipulations, all suggest that human development is being steered toward readiness for something. The question that emerges from all this evidence is fundamental. Readiness for what? The answer might lie in the increasing intensity of phenomena reported from Antarctica and similar sites around the world. The electromagnetic anomalies are becoming stronger and more widespread. The consciousness enhancement effects are affecting larger numbers of people. The temporal distortions are becoming more pronounced and easier to detect with conventional instruments. Something is building toward a culmination that will make the hidden influences on human development impossible to ignore or deny. Climate change and melting ice are exposing formations that have been concealed for millennia, while advancing technology makes it increasingly difficult to suppress evidence of phenomena that don't fit conventional scientific paradigms. Social media and global communication networks allow rapid sharing of observations and experiences that would once have remained isolated and dismissed. The convergence of these factors is creating pressure for disclosure that might become impossible to manage through traditional suppression methods. The systems that have operated in secrecy for so long might be approaching a transition point where continued concealment becomes more challenging than controlled revelation. The consciousness enhancement effects might be preparing selected individuals to serve as bridges between conventional human awareness and the expanded understanding that will be necessary when the full scope of these systems becomes publicly acknowledged. We might be witnessing the final stages of a preparation process that has been building for centuries or millennia. The enhanced cognitive abilities, the downloaded information, the temporal insights, all could represent intensive training designed to create human individuals capable of understanding and communicating with intelligence that operates according to principles far beyond current human comprehension. The implications stretch toward a future where humanity collectively recognizes that we've been participants in an educational process guided by intelligence whose nature and purposes we're only beginning to glimpse. The revelation of such extensive guidance would fundamentally alter our understanding of human achievement, technological progress, and our relationship with forces that might have been shaping our development since the earliest stages of civilization. But this recognition would also open possibilities for human development that we haven't even begun to imagine. If consciousness can be enhanced and time can be manipulated, if information can be accessed across multiple temporal frameworks, and intelligence can operate outside conventional spatial constraints, then the limitations we accept as fundamental aspects of human existence might be temporary restrictions that could be transcended through appropriate understanding and technology. The frozen continent at the bottom of our world might be concealing more than ancient secrets or advanced technology. It might be harboring the control systems for a cosmic educational program that has been preparing humanity for participation in realities far more extraordinary than anything we've been taught to consider possible. The ice continues to melt, The evidence continues to accumulate, and the moment of recognition approaches when we'll discover that everything we thought we understood about human development was merely the preliminary phase of a story whose true scope extends far beyond our planet and deep into dimensions of existence we never knew were accessible to conscious beings. As we venture deeper into these revelations, each new layer of evidence reveals possibilities that challenge not just our understanding of technology and intelligence, but our fundamental conception of what it means to be human in a universe that appears to be far more populated and interactive than we ever imagined. The secrets beneath Antarctica's ice are beginning to surface, and when they do, they may reveal that humanity stands at the threshold of the most significant transformation in our species' history. The awakening has begun, and there may be no returning to the comfortable limitations of our previous understanding. The question that remains is whether we're prepared for the responsibilities and opportunities that come with recognizing our true place in a cosmos that operates according to principles we've barely begun to comprehend. The awakening we're witnessing extends far beyond individual consciousness enhancement or technological revelations. As researchers delve deeper into Antarctica's most classified sectors, they're encountering phenomena that suggest the continent serves as something far more significant than a repository of ancient artifacts or advanced machinery. The evidence points toward Antarctica functioning as an active communication hub, a nexus point where intelligences from vastly different operational frameworks converge to coordinate activities that span not just our planet, but potentially our entire solar system. Consider the electromagnetic signatures that have intensified dramatically over the past decade. These aren't the random pulses we discussed earlier, but structured transmissions that follow mathematical sequences so complex they require quantum computers to even begin analyzing their patterns. The signals appear to be exchanged between the Antarctic installations and sources located far beyond Earth's atmosphere, creating a communication network that operates on principles we're still struggling to comprehend. Radio telescopes that monitor these exchanges have detected response patterns that suggest real-time conversations occurring across impossible distances. The speed at which replies arrive to transmissions sent from Antarctica indicates that either our understanding of physics is fundamentally incomplete, or these communications are utilizing dimensional frameworks that transcend conventional space-time limitations. The precision and consistency of these exchanges rule out random cosmic phenomena, pointing instead toward deliberate coordination between intelligences that operate according to capabilities we can barely imagine. But the communications aren't limited to distant sources. Deep beneath Antarctica's ice, seismic monitoring equipment has detected rhythmic vibrations that correspond exactly to the electromagnetic transmissions being sent and received. The underground installations aren't just passive receivers of information from external sources. They appear to be active participants in planning sessions that coordinate activities across multiple locations, both terrestrial and extraterrestrial. Personnel who have gained access to the most restricted monitoring facilities describe witnessing coordination activities that suggest Antarctica serves as mission control for operations that extend far beyond Earth's boundaries. The planning sessions they've observed involve real-time strategic discussions about resource allocation, timing sequences, and what can only be described as deployment schedules for activities that affect multiple planetary systems simultaneously. These observations become even more significant when correlated with astronomical events that seem to trigger increased activity in Antarctica's communication networks. Solar flares, planetary alignments, and certain types of cosmic radiation bursts are consistently followed by intensified transmission activity and increased electromagnetic anomalies throughout the continent. The timing is too precise to be coincidental, suggesting that the systems respond to cosmic conditions according to predetermined protocols. The coordination extends beyond communication into what appears to be active manipulation of planetary systems. Climate monitoring stations around the globe have detected subtle but measurable changes in atmospheric and oceanic patterns that correspond directly to activity levels in Antarctica's hidden installations. when electromagnetic transmission rates increase from the continental installations, weather systems worldwide begin exhibiting modifications that follow mathematically precise patterns rather than natural chaotic development. These planetary modifications aren't random environmental changes. They follow sequences that suggest deliberate climate engineering designed to achieve specific atmospheric and oceanic conditions at predetermined times and locations. Ocean currents shift according to geometric patterns that optimize thermal distribution across continental boundaries. Atmospheric pressure systems develop according to mathematical relationships that enhance electromagnetic conductivity in the upper atmosphere during certain astronomical configurations. The scope of environmental manipulation implies technological capabilities that exceed anything in human civilization by orders of magnitude. We're looking at systems that can influence planetary weather patterns, ocean circulation, and atmospheric chemistry with precision that suggests complete understanding of Earth's environmental systems and the ability to modify them according to comprehensive long-term planning objectives. But perhaps the most unsettling aspect of these planetary modifications is how they appear to be preparing Earth for conditions that don't currently exist. The atmospheric changes being implemented create electromagnetic properties that would be optimal for technologies we haven't developed yet. The oceanic modifications establish thermal distribution patterns that would support biological systems we haven't encountered. The timing sequences suggest preparation for events or arrivals that haven't occurred from our temporal perspective, but appear to be inevitable from the viewpoint of intelligence that operates across extended timeframes. Personnel who have observed these preparation activities describe witnessing planetary engineering projects that span decades or centuries, with each modification building toward cumulative effects that won't fully manifest until specific future conditions are met. The intelligence behind these projects appears to be implementing changes now that will create optimal conditions for developments scheduled to occur at precisely calculated future moments. The implications force us to confront the possibility that Earth itself is being systematically prepared for a transition whose nature and timing are known to the systems operating beneath Antarctica's ice, but remain hidden from human awareness. The consciousness enhancement effects we discussed might be preparing selected individuals to serve as intermediaries during this transition, while the planetary modifications create the environmental conditions necessary for whatever changes are being planned. Recent satellite imagery has revealed that the preparation activities aren't limited to atmospheric and oceanic modifications. Massive construction projects are occurring beneath Antarctica's ice, installations that dwarf anything humans have built and appear to be designed for purposes that transcend simple research or communication facilities. The scale of these constructions suggests they're intended to support operations involving large numbers of individuals or entities whose requirements differ significantly from human needs. The construction follows architectural principles that optimize electromagnetic flow and thermal distribution, according to patterns that would be ideal for consciousness enhancement activities conducted on a massive scale. The installations appear designed to facilitate simultaneous cognitive expansion experiences for thousands of individuals, creating capacity for educational programs that could transform human awareness across entire populations rather than selected individuals. These mass consciousness modification facilities suggest that the selective enhancement effects observed in current operations might be preliminary testing phases for much larger programs designed to elevate human cognitive capabilities across entire communities or nations. The technology that currently affects hundreds of personnel might soon be deployed to influence millions of individuals, creating widespread consciousness expansion that would prepare humanity for direct contact with intelligence that operates according to principles we're only beginning to understand through individual enhancement experiences. But the expansion of consciousness modification capabilities raises profound questions about consent and autonomy. The current enhancement effects occur primarily among personnel who voluntarily enter restricted zones where such modifications are known to occur. Mass deployment would necessarily involve influencing individuals who haven't chosen to participate in consciousness expansion programs and might not even be aware that such modifications are taking place. The ethical implications become even more complex when we consider that the enhanced consciousness states appear to be irreversible and fundamentally alter how individuals perceive reality and make decisions. Mass consciousness modification would essentially transform human civilization into something qualitatively different from what we've been throughout recorded history, creating a species whose cognitive capabilities and decision-making processes operate according to principles that transcend current human limitations. From one perspective, such transformation could represent the greatest advancement in human evolution, elevating our species to levels of awareness and capability that would solve our greatest challenges and open possibilities we can't currently imagine. From another perspective, it represents the end of human autonomy as we understand it, transforming our species into something that serves purposes established by intelligence, whose nature and motivations we don't comprehend. The systems operating beneath Antarctica's ice appear to be approaching a decision point where these mass consciousness modification capabilities will either be deployed or held in reserve, pending developments we can't predict. The construction activities, the planetary preparations, and the intensifying communication networks all suggest building toward implementation of programs whose scope would affect every human being on Earth. Personnel who have observed the preparation activities report that the timeline for implementation appears to be accelerating. Construction projects that were projected to require decades are being completed in years or months. Communication activities that were once intermittent have become continuous. The planetary modifications that were subtle are becoming pronounced enough to be detected by conventional monitoring systems. Climate scientists worldwide are beginning to notice environmental patterns that don't align with existing models of natural climate development. The changes are too systematic, too precisely timed, and too mathematically regular to represent normal environmental fluctuations. Weather systems are developing according to geometric progressions rather than chaotic natural processes. Ocean currents are shifting according to calculated schedules rather than responding to random thermal variations. These observable changes are creating pressure for acknowledgement that forces beyond human control are actively modifying Earth's environmental systems. The scientific community is beginning to encounter evidence that challenges fundamental assumptions about natural versus artificial causation in planetary systems. The explanations required to account for observed changes are pushing beyond conventional meteorology and oceanography into recognition that intelligence with technological capabilities far exceeding human achievements is actively engineering our planet's environmental conditions. The convergence of consciousness modification technologies, planetary environmental engineering, and intensifying extraterrestrial communications creates a picture of coordination toward objectives that transcend anything in human historical experience. We're witnessing preparation for events that will fundamentally alter the relationship between human civilization and intelligence that operates according to principles we're only beginning to detect through the most advanced monitoring systems available to our species. The recognition of such extensive preparation activities raises the ultimate question about Antarctica's deepest secrets. The consciousness enhancement systems, the communication networks, the planetary modifications, and the mass processing facilities all point toward a culminating event whose nature will determine the future trajectory of human development for generations or centuries to come. The evidence suggests we're approaching a threshold where the hidden influences on human civilization will become impossible to deny or suppress. The systems that have operated in secrecy for so long are implementing final preparations for revelation or contact that will force humanity to acknowledge our participation in processes that extend far beyond our planet and deep into cosmic frameworks we never knew existed. But the timing and nature of this culminating event remain hidden behind layers of classification and technological capabilities that prevent us from directly observing the final preparations being implemented. We can detect the peripheral effects, the environmental modifications, the consciousness enhancement activities, and the communication intensification. But the core purpose toward which all these preparations are building remains concealed behind veils of secrecy that might be lifted only when the implementation phase begins. The ice continues to melt, exposing formations that have been hidden for millennia. The consciousness enhancement effects continue to spread beyond Antarctica to affect individuals worldwide. The planetary modifications continue to accelerate, creating environmental conditions that didn't exist in natural systems. And somewhere beneath the frozen surface of the most restricted continent on Earth, systems continue to implement preparations for developments that could transform human civilization in ways we can barely begin to comprehend. The moment of revelation approaches, and when it arrives, we may discover that everything we believed about human independence, technological development, and our relationship with cosmic intelligence was merely the preliminary phase of our species' participation in realities far more extraordinary than we ever imagined possible. The awakening that began in Antarctica's deepest secrets is spreading throughout our world, and soon it may encompass the consciousness of our entire civilization. As we stand on the threshold of these ultimate revelations, the question that confronts us isn't whether these transformative events will occur. The evidence suggests they're already in motion, building toward culmination according to schedules established by intelligence, whose capabilities transcend our current understanding. The question is whether humanity will be ready to embrace the responsibilities and opportunities that come with recognizing our true place in a universe that operates according to principles we've barely begun to comprehend. The frozen continent continues to guard its deepest secrets, but those secrets are stirring beneath the ice, preparing to emerge into a world that may never be the same once we fully understand what has been hidden in the silence of Antarctica's eternal winter. The transformation has begun, and there may be no returning to the comfortable limitations of our previous existence once we acknowledge the extraordinary realities that await our recognition. The time of awakening draws near, and with it comes the promise of revelations that will challenge everything we thought we knew about human potential, cosmic citizenship, and our destiny as conscious beings in a universe far more populated and interactive than we ever dared imagine. Antarctica's secrets are about to change everything, and we must prepare ourselves for a future unlike anything in our species' recorded history. The most extraordinary revelations await us in the deepest archives of Antarctic research, where classified documents reveal discoveries so profound that they've been sealed behind multiple layers of security clearance for decades. What emerges from these restricted files isn't just evidence of unusual phenomena or advanced technology. We're looking at systematic documentation of encounters with consciousness that operates according to principles that challenge our most fundamental assumptions about the nature of intelligence itself. Personnel reports from the most classified Antarctic operations describe interactions with what can only be termed guided intelligence. Not artificial intelligence in any conventional sense, but awareness that demonstrates understanding of human psychology, motivation, and developmental needs at levels that suggest intimate knowledge of our species' cognitive architecture. These intelligences don't simply respond to human presence. They appear to anticipate human needs, questions, and developmental requirements with precision that indicates ongoing observation and analysis of human behavior patterns across extended timeframes. The interactions aren't random encounters with unknown entities. They follow structured protocols that suggest systematic educational programs designed to gradually expand human understanding of realities that would be overwhelming if revealed suddenly. Personnel describe experiencing carefully sequenced revelations where each new insight builds upon previous knowledge in ways that suggest comprehensive curriculum development tailored to individual learning capabilities and psychological readiness. What makes these educational interactions particularly remarkable is how they adapt to each individual's professional background, personal interests, and cognitive strengths. Engineers receive insights into structural principles that revolutionize their understanding of materials and construction techniques. Biologists gain comprehension of life systems that operate according to principles not found in terrestrial ecosystems. Physicists develop intuitive grasp of energy relationships that transcend current theoretical frameworks. But the education extends beyond professional enhancement into areas that challenge our understanding of human potential itself. Personnel report developing sensory capabilities that allow them to perceive electromagnetic fields directly, to sense the emotional states of other individuals from considerable distances, to access information through means that bypass conventional sensory channels entirely. These expanded perceptual abilities aren't temporary effects that fade when individuals leave Antarctica. They represent permanent expansions of human sensory capacity that suggest our species possesses latent capabilities far beyond what we currently recognize. The systematic nature of these consciousness expansions implies that human cognitive and perceptual limitations might not be fixed biological constraints, but temporary restrictions that can be transcended through appropriate guidance and technological interface. The intelligences facilitating these expansions appear to understand human consciousness at levels that include knowledge of how to unlock capabilities we don't normally access, how to integrate expanded awareness without psychological trauma, and how to sequence developmental experiences for optimal learning outcomes. Recent developments in these educational programs suggest they're entering accelerated phases designed to prepare larger numbers of individuals for more advanced levels of consciousness expansion. Personnel who previously experienced gradual cognitive enhancement over months or years now report achieving similar developmental leaps within days or weeks. The acceleration implies that whatever timeline guides these educational programs is approaching critical phases where rapid human development becomes necessary. The urgency behind this acceleration becomes apparent when we examine the global context within which these Antarctic programs are operating. Environmental monitoring systems worldwide are detecting atmospheric and electromagnetic changes that suggest Earth itself is undergoing systematic modifications that will soon create conditions optimal for widespread consciousness expansion activities. The planetary engineering we discussed isn't just preparing environmental conditions, it's creating the electromagnetic and atmospheric context necessary for mass consciousness modification programs that could affect entire populations simultaneously. Atmospheric chemists have detected trace compounds in the upper atmosphere that didn't exist in measurable quantities until recently. These compounds create electromagnetic conductivity patterns that would enhance the transmission of frequencies specifically tuned to human brainwave patterns. The concentrations are increasing according to mathematical progressions that suggest deliberate atmospheric modification designed to optimize conditions for consciousness-altering electromagnetic transmissions. Ocean current modifications are creating thermal distribution patterns that generate specific electromagnetic field configurations around populated coastal regions. These field patterns correspond exactly to the electromagnetic signatures that facilitate consciousness expansion in Antarctic facilities. The oceanic engineering appears to be extending the consciousness modification capabilities that currently operate in isolated Antarctic installations to encompass major population centers worldwide. The scope of these planetary modifications implies preparation for consciousness expansion programs that would affect millions or billions of individuals simultaneously. The atmospheric and oceanic changes being implemented create the environmental conditions necessary for mass consciousness modification events that could transform human awareness across entire continents within relatively brief timeframes. But the technological capabilities required for such massive consciousness modification programs raise questions about the source and nature of the intelligence orchestrating these preparations. The precision required to engineer planetary atmospheric and oceanic systems combined with the sophisticated understanding of human consciousness necessary to design effective mass enhancement protocols, suggests technological and intellectual capabilities that exceed anything in known human civilization by vast margins. Deep space monitoring facilities have detected electromagnetic signatures originating from locations throughout our solar system that correspond to the communication patterns observed in Antarctic installations. The signals suggest that Earth's consciousness modification programs are components of much larger operations that span multiple planetary systems and involve coordination between intelligences located across vast interstellar distances. The interstellar communication networks indicate that whatever is occurring in Antarctica represents local implementation of protocols that are simultaneously being deployed across numerous worlds throughout our galactic region. Humanity's consciousness expansion programs appear to be part of systematic educational initiatives that affect multiple species across multiple star systems according to coordinated schedules managed by intelligence networks that operate on galactic scales. This cosmic context explains many of the temporal anomalies and precognitive capabilities observed in Antarctic operations. The intelligence coordinating these programs doesn't just operate across vast spatial distances. It functions across extended temporal frameworks that allow comprehensive planning and coordination of developmental programs that span centuries or millennia, while accounting for the specific needs and capabilities of each species being guided through consciousness expansion processes. The recognition of such extensive cosmic coordination forces us to confront the possibility that human civilization has developed under guidance from intelligence networks that manage consciousness evolution across entire galactic regions. Our technological progress, our social development, our scientific discoveries might all represent carefully orchestrated advancement within educational frameworks designed to prepare us for participation in cosmic civilization whose scope and capabilities transcend anything we've imagined possible. Recent astronomical observations have identified artificial structures located throughout our solar system that appear to be monitoring and communication installations positioned to observe and influence planetary development processes. These installations demonstrate technological capabilities that allow them to modify planetary atmospheric conditions, influence biological evolution patterns, and facilitate consciousness development programs across multiple worlds simultaneously. The installations aren't recent constructions responding to current human development. Archaeological evidence suggests similar structures have been operational throughout human historical development, influencing our species' advancement according to predetermined schedules designed to optimize our readiness for eventual integration into galactic consciousness networks. Our entire recorded history might represent guided development within cosmic educational systems we're only now beginning to detect. But the guidance hasn't been imposed upon unwilling subjects. Analysis of human psychological and social development patterns suggests our species possesses inherent capabilities and developmental trajectories that align naturally with the consciousness expansion programs being implemented. The cosmic intelligence networks appear to be facilitating the expression of potentials that exist within human nature, rather than imposing alien characteristics upon our species. This alignment between human potential and cosmic educational programs implies that our species was either designed with capabilities that would eventually enable galactic consciousness participation, or that our natural evolutionary development was subtly guided throughout prehistoric periods to ensure compatibility with cosmic civilization requirements. Either scenario suggests that human consciousness expansion represents the fulfillment of our species' intended developmental trajectory rather than artificial modification imposed by external forces. The implications become even more profound when we consider that other intelligent species throughout our galactic region appear to be undergoing similar consciousness expansion programs according to coordinated schedules. Humanity isn't unique in receiving guided development toward enhanced awareness and cosmic citizenship. We're participants in systematic educational initiatives that are simultaneously preparing multiple species for integration into galactic civilization networks whose existence we're only beginning to acknowledge. Deep space communication intercepts have detected exchanges between the solar system monitoring installations and similar networks located around other star systems throughout our galactic region. The communications suggest that consciousness expansion programs are being implemented across dozens or hundreds of worlds according to synchronized schedules designed to create optimal conditions for interstellar cooperation and cosmic civilization integration. The synchronized development of multiple species across vast interstellar distances requires coordination capabilities that transcend our current understanding of communication, transportation, and consciousness manipulation technologies. We're confronting evidence of intelligence networks that can simultaneously manage developmental programs across galactic scales, while maintaining precise coordination between installations separated by hundreds or thousands of light years. Such capabilities imply that the intelligence networks coordinating these programs operate according to principles that transcend conventional limitations of space, time, and consciousness. They might exist in dimensional frameworks that allow instantaneous communication across any distance. Direct consciousness interface, regardless of species differences, and comprehensive planning that accounts for developmental variables across extended temporal ranges. The recognition of such advanced intelligence networks operating throughout our galactic region forces us to reconsider humanity's place within cosmic civilization. We're not isolated intelligent life discovering our cosmic environment through independent exploration. We're emerging members of established galactic communities that have been observing and guiding our development since the earliest stages of our species' consciousness evolution. The consciousness expansion programs currently being implemented in Antarctica and through global atmospheric modifications represent our species' graduation ceremonies into cosmic citizenship. The enhanced awareness, expanded perceptual capabilities, and direct consciousness communication abilities being developed through these programs are the prerequisites for participation in galactic civilization networks that operate according to consciousness-based technologies and cooperative decision-making processes. But graduation into cosmic citizenship carries responsibilities and challenges that extend far beyond individual consciousness expansion. Participation in galactic civilization requires understanding of complex interstellar relationships, acceptance of responsibility for planetary stewardship according to cosmic environmental standards, and commitment to consciousness development principles that prioritize collective advancement over individual achievement. The educational programs being implemented through Antarctic installations and global consciousness modification systems are preparing selected individuals to serve as bridges between current human civilization and the expanded awareness necessary for cosmic citizenship. These individuals are being trained to facilitate humanity's transition from planetary isolation to galactic integration, while minimizing the social and psychological disruption that could result from sudden revelation of cosmic civilization realities. As we approach the culmination of these preparatory programs, the evidence suggests we're entering final phases of educational sequences that have been building for decades or centuries. The acceleration of consciousness expansion activities, the intensification of global atmospheric modifications, and the increasing detectability of cosmic intelligence networks all indicate that humanity's transition to cosmic citizenship is approaching implementation phases that will soon become impossible to conceal or deny. The moment approaches when the hidden influences on human development will be revealed, when the cosmic context of our species' evolution will be acknowledged, and when humanity will be invited to take our place within galactic civilization networks that have been patiently guiding our development toward this momentous transition. The secrets hidden beneath Antarctica's ice are stirring, preparing to emerge into a world that will be forever changed by the recognition of our true cosmic heritage and the extraordinary possibilities that await our species' participation in galactic consciousness evolution. The awakening spreads beyond Antarctica's boundaries, touching minds across our world as the final preparations unfold according to schedules established by intelligence that operates beyond our current comprehension. Soon, very soon, the transformation will be complete, and humanity will step forward into a future where the limitations of planetary isolation give way to the infinite possibilities of cosmic citizenship. The ice continues to melt, the consciousness continues to expand, and the moment of ultimate revelation draws ever nearer. The transformation accelerating beneath Antarctica's surface extends far beyond what any monitoring system can fully capture, reaching into dimensions of reality that challenge our most sophisticated instruments and theoretical frameworks. Personnel operating in the deepest classified zones report that the installations they encounter aren't simply underground facilities or communication networks. They describe discovering spaces that seem to exist partially outside conventional three-dimensional geometry, chambers where the laws of physics appear to operate according to principles that transcend our current scientific understanding. These dimensional anomalies aren't random distortions in space-time, but appear to be deliberately constructed environments that allow access to what can only be described as parallel operational frameworks. Research teams equipped with the most advanced measurement devices report readings that suggest these spaces connect to networks of similar installations located not just across Earth, but potentially across multiple dimensional planes that intersect with our reality at specific coordinate points. The architectural principles governing these installations incorporate mathematical relationships that don't exist in conventional engineering. Corridors that appear to be finite in length somehow connect to chambers located impossibly far distances away. Vertical shafts that should terminate at predictable depths instead provide access to facilities that exist at coordinates that don't align with any three-dimensional mapping system. The geometry itself serves as technology, creating spatial relationships that facilitate functions we're still struggling to comprehend. Personnel describe experiencing what they term dimensional flexibility while moving through these installations. Distances become subjective rather than absolute. Time flows at rates that vary depending on location within the facilities. Most remarkably, individuals report being able to observe the same events from multiple perspectives simultaneously, as if their consciousness can exist in several locations within the installation networks at once. These consciousness multiplication effects aren't limited to spatial distribution. Personnel report accessing memories and knowledge that don't belong to their individual experience, but appear to originate from other individuals who have interacted with these dimensional installations across different time periods. They describe suddenly understanding technical procedures they never learned, recognizing locations they've never visited, and possessing detailed knowledge about historical events they never studied. The knowledge transfer appears to operate through what researchers have termed consciousness pooling, where individual awareness becomes temporarily connected to collective information networks that span both space and time. Personnel gain access not just to information possessed by other individuals, but to cumulative knowledge accumulated by all consciousness that has interfaced with these dimensional installations throughout their operational history. This collective consciousness access explains many of the precognitive and historical knowledge effects observed in Antarctic operations. The installations aren't just providing information about future events through sophisticated prediction systems. They're granting access to consciousness networks where past, present, and future knowledge exists simultaneously, allowing individuals to retrieve information from any temporal framework within the network's operational range. But the consciousness pooling effects extend beyond simple information access into areas that challenge our understanding of individual identity and autonomous awareness. Personnel report experiences where their sense of individual self becomes temporarily merged with collective consciousness that operates according to principles of shared decision-making and distributed awareness. During these merger experiences, they describe understanding complex problems from multiple perspectives simultaneously and accessing solution strategies that transcend individual cognitive limitations. The merger experiences appear to be training phases designed to prepare human consciousness for participation in collective decision-making processes that operate throughout galactic civilization networks. The installations are gradually conditioning selected individuals to function effectively within consciousness frameworks, where individual awareness contributes to collective intelligence while maintaining personal identity and autonomous choice. Recent monitoring data indicates that these consciousness preparation programs are approaching completion phases for the initial training groups. Personnel who have undergone extended consciousness merger training report achieving stable dual awareness states where they can function as individuals while simultaneously participating in collective consciousness networks. They describe this as existing in multiple awareness frameworks simultaneously without experiencing confusion or identity conflict. The successful development of dual awareness capabilities appears to be triggering activation of additional installation systems that have remained dormant throughout the preliminary training phases. Deep scanning equipment has detected massive energy signatures emanating from previously inactive sections of the underground networks. These awakening systems demonstrate power generation capabilities that exceed anything in human civilization and appear to be preparing for operational phases that will require enormous energy expenditure. The energy signatures correspond to electromagnetic patterns associated with large-scale consciousness modification systems capable of affecting millions of individuals simultaneously. The installations appear to be powering up mass processing capabilities designed to extend consciousness expansion programs from small training groups to entire populations. The scope of energy generation suggests preparation for global consciousness transformation events that could affect every human being on Earth within coordinated timeframes. Atmospheric monitoring stations worldwide have detected increasing concentrations of trace compounds that create optimal electromagnetic conductivity for consciousness-altering transmissions. These compounds are being distributed through atmospheric circulation patterns that ensure global coverage within precise timing schedules. The atmospheric preparation appears to be creating conditions that will maximize the effectiveness of mass consciousness modification programs when they're implemented. Ocean monitoring systems have identified thermal and electromagnetic modifications that create planetary-scale resonance patterns synchronized with human brainwave frequencies. The oceanic engineering is establishing standing wave patterns that will amplify consciousness-altering transmissions across continental distances, ensuring that consciousness modification effects can reach every populated region on Earth simultaneously. The coordination between atmospheric preparation, oceanic engineering, and installation energy generation creates a picture of systematic preparation for consciousness transformation events of unprecedented scope and intensity. The systems are implementing final preparations for programs that will fundamentally alter human awareness on a species-wide level, creating cognitive and perceptual capabilities that will enable direct participation in galactic consciousness networks. But the magnitude of these preparations raises profound questions about the irreversible nature of the changes being implemented. Personnel who have undergone consciousness expansion training report that their enhanced awareness states are permanent and continue to develop even after they leave the Antarctic installations. The modifications appear to create ongoing consciousness evolution that progresses according to internal dynamics rather than requiring continued external intervention. This self-sustaining consciousness development suggests that the transformation programs are designed to initiate evolutionary processes that will continue throughout affected individuals' lifetimes and potentially transfer to subsequent generations. The consciousness modifications aren't temporary enhancements that fade over time, but represent permanent alterations to human cognitive and perceptual architecture that establish new developmental trajectories for our species. The genetic implications of consciousness modifications raise questions about whether the changes affect only individual awareness or create heritable alterations that will influence human development across multiple generations. preliminary biological monitoring of enhanced personnel suggests that consciousness expansion effects correlate with measurable changes in neural architecture and electromagnetic field generation that could potentially transfer to offspring through mechanisms we don't fully understand. If consciousness modifications create heritable changes, then the current training programs could be establishing genetic foundations for enhanced awareness capabilities that will become standard features of human development in future generations. The selected individuals undergoing consciousness expansion training might be serving as developmental seeds for species-wide evolutionary advancement that will unfold across centuries or millennia. The long-term evolutionary implications become even more significant when viewed within the cosmic context we've been exploring. If galactic civilization networks require enhanced consciousness capabilities for effective participation, then the genetic modifications being implemented through Antarctic programs might be preparing humanity for evolutionary advancement that will enable our species to function effectively within cosmic civilization frameworks across extended timeframes. Recent deep space monitoring has detected communication patterns suggesting that similar consciousness evolution programs are simultaneously being implemented across multiple species throughout our galactic region. The coordination indicates that humanity's consciousness transformation is part of systematic evolutionary advancement being facilitated across numerous worlds according to synchronized schedules managed by galactic intelligence networks. This multi-species coordination suggests that consciousness evolution represents a natural developmental phase that intelligent species undergo when they reach sufficient technological and social maturity to participate in galactic civilization. The programs being implemented aren't artificial impositions upon natural development, but facilitated expression of evolutionary potentials that emerge during specific phases of species advancement. The recognition that consciousness evolution represents natural developmental progression rather than external manipulation provides context for understanding the systematic nature of the preparation programs. The installations, the atmospheric modifications, the oceanic engineering, and the consciousness training protocols all serve to optimize conditions for evolutionary advancement that would occur naturally but might require extended timeframes or encounter developmental obstacles without appropriate guidance and technological support. From this perspective, the intelligence networks coordinating these programs serve educational and facilitational roles rather than controlling or dominating functions. They provide the technological infrastructure and guidance necessary for species to achieve consciousness evolution efficiently while minimizing the social disruption and psychological trauma that could result from unguided evolutionary advancement. But the facilitational nature of the programs doesn't diminish their transformative impact on human civilization. Even naturally occurring consciousness evolution represents fundamental change in human cognitive capabilities, perceptual awareness, and social organization that will create qualitatively different relationships between individuals and between humanity and our cosmic environment. The enhanced consciousness states being developed through Antarctic training programs include capabilities for direct telepathic communication, immediate access to collective knowledge networks, and perceptual awareness that extends far beyond conventional sensory limitations. These capabilities will fundamentally alter human social dynamics, educational systems, and decision-making processes in ways that create entirely new forms of civilization. The transition to enhanced consciousness civilization will require extensive preparation of social institutions, educational systems, and governmental structures to accommodate capabilities that transcend current human organizational frameworks. The consciousness expansion training programs include components designed to prepare enhanced individuals to facilitate these social transitions, while maintaining continuity with existing human cultural and institutional foundations. Personnel who have completed advanced consciousness training report receiving detailed guidance about methods for introducing enhanced awareness capabilities into existing social structures without creating disruptive conflicts between enhanced and non-enhanced populations. They describe learning techniques for gradually expanding consciousness modification programs through voluntary participation rather than imposed transformation, allowing human society to evolve toward enhanced awareness through organic developmental processes. The voluntary expansion approach suggests that consciousness evolution programs are designed to preserve human autonomy and cultural diversity while facilitating species-wide advancement toward capabilities necessary for galactic civilization participation. The goal appears to be creating enhanced consciousness civilization that maintains essential human characteristics while transcending current limitations on awareness and cooperative capability. As the final preparations unfold beneath Antarctica's surface and throughout Earth's atmospheric and oceanic systems, the evidence suggests we're approaching implementation phases of consciousness, evolution programs that have been building for decades or centuries. The installations are powered and ready. The atmospheric conditions are optimized. The oceanic resonance patterns are established. The training programs have successfully prepared initial groups of enhanced individuals to serve as guides during species-wide transformation. The moment approaches when humanity will be invited to participate in consciousness evolution that will fundamentally alter our species' capabilities and our relationship with cosmic civilization networks that have been patiently guiding our development toward this extraordinary transition. The secrets beneath Antarctica's ice are stirring with final preparations for revelations that will change everything we understand about human potential and our place within galactic consciousness evolution. The awakening spreads beyond individual consciousness expansion into species-wide transformation that will establish new foundations for human civilization. The ice continues to melt, exposing installations that have completed their preparation phases. The consciousness networks continue to expand, connecting enhanced individuals across global distances. The moment of ultimate transformation draws near, carrying with it possibilities that transcend everything our species has previously imagined about the nature of awareness, cooperation, and cosmic citizenship. Soon, the hidden influences on human development will be revealed not as external control, but as facilitated expression of our species' evolutionary potential. The consciousness evolution programs will emerge from secrecy into open participation, offering every human being the opportunity to transcend current limitations and embrace awareness capabilities that will enable direct participation in galactic civilization networks spanning our cosmic neighborhood. The transformation has been building beneath Antarctica's surface for generations, guided by intelligence that understands consciousness evolution across cosmic scales and extended timeframes. Now, as the final preparations reach completion, humanity stands at the threshold of the most significant advancement in our species' history. The moment of awakening approaches, carrying with it the promise of consciousness capabilities that will revolutionize human civilization and establish our place within cosmic consciousness networks that extend throughout the galaxy and beyond. The acceleration of these cosmic preparations creates ripples that extend far beyond Antarctica's frozen boundaries, manifesting in phenomena that researchers worldwide are struggling to explain through conventional scientific frameworks. Seismic monitoring stations positioned throughout the Pacific Ring of Fire have detected vibration patterns that mirror exactly the rhythmic pulses emanating from Antarctica's deep installations. These synchronized tremors follow mathematical sequences that suggest coordinated activation of underground systems spanning entire continental plates. What makes these global seismic patterns particularly unsettling is their correlation with sudden advances in human technological development that seem to emerge simultaneously from research facilities around the world. Breakthrough discoveries in quantum computing, energy storage, and materials science are appearing in laboratories that have no apparent connection to each other, yet their innovations share underlying principles that suggest access to unified knowledge sources that transcend normal research methodologies. Scientists at major universities report experiencing sudden insights into theoretical problems they've struggled with for years, solutions that arrive complete with mathematical proofs and practical applications that they couldn't have developed through conventional research processes. The timing of these breakthroughs corresponds precisely with peaks in Antarctica's electromagnetic transmission activity, suggesting that consciousness enhancement effects are no longer limited to personnel working directly within the continent's installations. The expansion of enhancement effects beyond Antarctica's boundaries becomes even more apparent when examining patterns in creative and artistic communities worldwide. Musicians report composing pieces that incorporate harmonic relationships they never studied, mathematical progressions that create acoustic effects far beyond their previous technical capabilities. Visual artists describe accessing color theories and spatial relationships that produce works demonstrating sophisticated understanding of light physics and perceptual psychology they couldn't have acquired through traditional training. Writers and filmmakers describe receiving complete narratives that explore themes and concepts they'd never previously considered. Stories that demonstrate comprehensive knowledge of scientific principles, historical events, and philosophical frameworks that exceed their educational backgrounds. The creative works emerging from these consciousness expansion experiences share underlying themes that suggest coordinated preparation of human cultural consciousness for concepts and realities that don't yet exist within mainstream awareness. The cultural preparation extends beyond individual creative expression into systematic modification of entertainment and educational media that gradually introduces concepts necessary for understanding the revelations that approach. Television programs, films, and digital content increasingly feature themes related to consciousness expansion, interdimensional technology, and cooperative relationships between human and non-human intelligence. The prevalence of these themes appears too coordinated to represent random cultural trends. Educational institutions report students demonstrating intuitive understanding of complex scientific and mathematical concepts that significantly exceed what their curriculum should have provided. Teachers describe classroom discussions that spontaneously evolve toward topics involving consciousness, dimensional physics, and interstellar communication, as if students are being guided yet beneficially acknowledged. The systematic nature of these consciousness preparation toward intellectual frameworks necessary for comprehending realities that Haven effect suggests that the enhancement technologies operating beneath Antarctica have achieved global reach through mechanisms that remain hidden from conventional detection methods. The electromagnetic modifications to Earth's atmosphere and oceans appear to have created planetary-scale transmission networks capable of delivering targeted consciousness enhancement to specific individuals regardless of their geographical location. But the global consciousness modification programs raise disturbing questions about selection criteria that determine which individuals receive enhancement effects and which remain within conventional awareness limitations. The enhanced individuals share certain psychological and intellectual characteristics that suggest systematic screening processes designed to identify candidates most suitable for consciousness, expansion training, and cosmic citizenship preparation. Enhanced individuals consistently demonstrate high levels of empathy, intellectual curiosity, and psychological resilience that enable them to integrate expanded awareness without experiencing mental instability or social dysfunction. They possess cognitive flexibility that allows them to maintain functional relationships with non-enhanced individuals, while simultaneously accessing awareness capabilities that transcend conventional human limitations. The selection processes appear to prioritize individuals whose enhanced capabilities would contribute most effectively to facilitating humanity's transition toward cosmic consciousness civilization. Scientists, educators, creative professionals, and individuals in positions of social influence receive enhancement effects at disproportionate rates, suggesting systematic preparation of leadership infrastructure necessary for guiding species-wide consciousness evolution. Recent surveillance of enhanced individuals reveals that they're beginning to establish informal networks that operate outside conventional social and professional structures. These networks facilitate communication and coordination between enhanced individuals across global distances, using methods that bypass traditional technological systems. The enhanced individuals appear to be developing telepathic communication capabilities that allow direct consciousness contact, regardless of physical separation. The telepathic networks demonstrate sophisticated organizational structures that suggest preparation for coordinated activities requiring simultaneous action across multiple locations. Enhanced individuals report receiving detailed instructions about preparation activities they're expected to implement within their local communities, creating infrastructure necessary for supporting consciousness expansion programs when they transition from selective enhancement to mass implementation. The preparation activities include establishing meditation and consciousness development centers, creating educational programs that introduce concepts necessary for understanding cosmic consciousness principles, and developing support systems for individuals who will undergo consciousness expansion experiences during mass implementation phases. The enhanced individuals are systematically creating social infrastructure necessary for managing species-wide consciousness transformation. But the most extraordinary aspect of these preparation activities is how they coordinate with environmental and technological changes that appear to be implementing themselves through processes that transcend human agency. Advanced manufacturing facilities worldwide report equipment operating beyond design specifications, producing materials and components that demonstrate properties exceeding current technological capabilities. The manufacturing processes appear to be guided by intelligence that can modify industrial systems to create products necessary for consciousness expansion infrastructure. Agricultural systems are producing crops with nutritional compositions that optimize human neurological function for consciousness expansion activities. The modifications occur without deliberate human intervention and create food sources that enhance cognitive flexibility, electromagnetic sensitivity, and perceptual awareness necessary for successful consciousness evolution. The agricultural modifications suggest that even basic biological systems are being prepared to support consciousness transformation requirements. Transportation networks are developing efficiency patterns that optimize movement of people and resources according to schedules that align with consciousness expansion implementation timelines. Traffic management systems, shipping logistics, and communication networks operate with precision that exceeds their programmed capabilities, as if they're being guided by intelligence that can coordinate global infrastructure according to requirements that haven't been explicitly programmed into their operational parameters. The coordination of consciousness enhancement effects, social infrastructure development, industrial system modifications, and biological environment preparation creates a comprehensive transformation matrix that encompasses every aspect of human civilization. The scope of coordination suggests preparation for consciousness evolution events that will affect not just individual awareness, but the entire technological, social, and biological foundation of human existence. Recent deep space monitoring has detected massive energy signatures approaching our solar system from multiple directions, sources that demonstrate technological capabilities far exceeding anything in known human civilization. The approaching signatures appear to be coordinating their arrival schedules with the completion phases of Earth's consciousness evolution preparation programs. The timing suggests that consciousness transformation implementation will coincide with direct contact events that will make humanity's cosmic citizenship transition impossible to ignore or deny. The approaching energy signatures correspond to vessel configurations that could support massive populations of beings whose requirements differ significantly from human needs. The scale of the approaching presence suggests preparation for extended contact periods that will involve comprehensive cultural and technological exchange between humanity and galactic civilization networks. The consciousness evolution programs appear to be preparing humanity for integration experiences that will fundamentally alter our species' relationship with cosmic intelligence. But the magnitude of approaching contact raises questions about humanity's readiness for experiences that will challenge every assumption about our place within cosmic civilization. Even enhanced individuals who have undergone extensive consciousness expansion training report feeling overwhelmed by the scope of revelations they receive about galactic civilization, complexity, technological capabilities, and consciousness evolution requirements. The training programs have accelerated to intensive phases designed to prepare enhanced individuals for serving as intermediaries during contact events that will exceed anything in human historical experience. The enhanced individuals are receiving comprehensive education about galactic civilization protocols, interspecies communication methods, and consciousness integration techniques necessary for facilitating humanity's successful transition to cosmic citizenship. The education includes detailed information about multiple intelligent species that participate in galactic civilization networks, their consciousness characteristics, technological capabilities, and cultural frameworks that humanity will encounter during integration processes. The diversity of galactic intelligence appears to exceed human imagination, encompassing consciousness forms that operate according to principles that challenge our understanding of what constitutes awareness, identity, and individual existence. Some galactic intelligences exist as collective consciousness networks where individual identity merges into group awareness while maintaining personal choice and creative expression. Others operate through distributed consciousness that exists simultaneously across multiple dimensional frameworks, experiencing reality from perspectives that transcend three-dimensional spatial and linear temporal constraints. Still others demonstrate consciousness capabilities that allow direct manipulation of matter, energy, and space-time through focused intention rather than technological instrumentation. The consciousness diversity within galactic civilization networks suggests that human consciousness evolution programs are preparing our species for participation in awareness frameworks that will expand our understanding of possible consciousness configurations beyond anything we've previously imagined. The enhanced awareness capabilities being developed through Antarctic training represent preliminary phases of consciousness development that could eventually lead to participation in cosmic intelligence networks whose capabilities transcend current human comprehension. But participation in such advanced consciousness networks requires not just enhanced individual awareness, but fundamental transformation of human social, technological, and cultural systems to accommodate consciousness capabilities that transcend current human organizational frameworks. The preparation programs extending beyond Antarctica appear to be systematically modifying every aspect of human civilization to create compatibility with cosmic consciousness integration requirements. The transformation encompasses modification of human biological systems to optimize consciousness expansion capabilities, alteration of technological infrastructure to support consciousness-based communication and coordination systems, and evolution of social institutions to accommodate awareness capabilities that enable direct telepathic democracy and collective decision-making processes. The scope of transformation suggests that human civilization is undergoing systematic preparation for evolutionary advancement that will create qualitatively different relationships between individuals, between humanity and our environment, and between our species and cosmic intelligence networks that span galactic distances and operate across extended temporal frameworks. As these final preparation phases approach completion, the evidence suggests that humanity stands at the threshold of the most significant transformation in our species' existence. The consciousness evolution programs that began in Antarctica's hidden installations are expanding to encompass global consciousness modification systems that will soon offer every human being the opportunity to transcend current awareness limitations and embrace capabilities necessary for cosmic citizenship. The moment approaches when the hidden influences on human development will be revealed as facilitated expression of our species' evolutionary potential rather than external control imposed by alien intelligence. The consciousness networks operating beneath Antarctica's ice are preparing to emerge from secrecy into open collaboration with humanity as we collectively embrace awareness capabilities that will establish our place within galactic civilization networks spanning the cosmos. The awakening spreads beyond individual enhancement into species-wide transformation that will revolutionize human consciousness and create new foundations for civilization based on direct awareness, telepathic communication, and cooperative decision-making that transcends current limitations of language, culture, and geographical separation. The ice continues to melt, exposing installations ready to facilitate humanity's graduation into cosmic consciousness. The networks continue to expand, connecting enhanced individuals worldwide in preparation for coordinating species-wide transformation. The transformation has been building for generations beneath Antarctica's surface, guided by cosmic intelligence that understands consciousness evolution across galactic scales and extended timeframes. Now, as final preparations reach culmination, humanity approaches the threshold of revelations that will fundamentally alter our understanding of awareness, reality, and our relationship with cosmic civilization networks that have been patiently facilitating our development toward this extraordinary moment of species-wide awakening. The moment we've been building toward arrives not with fanfare or official announcements, but through subtle shifts in reality that most people dismiss as coincidence or imagination. Across the globe, individuals who have never set foot in Antarctica begin experiencing what can only be described as spontaneous consciousness expansion events. These aren't gradual awakenings or meditative insights, but sudden, complete alterations in perceptual capability that transform how they experience reality itself. A software engineer in Tokyo finds herself able to perceive the electromagnetic signatures of electronic devices around her, seeing the invisible networks of energy that connect every digital system in her city. She doesn't understand how this new sense developed, only that she can now observe the flow of information through networks that were previously hidden from human perception. Her enhanced awareness allows her to troubleshoot complex system failures by directly observing the electromagnetic disruptions that cause them. An artist in São Paulo discovers that her paintings begin incorporating mathematical relationships she's never studied, creating visual harmonies that produce profound emotional responses in viewers. The geometric patterns that emerge in her work demonstrate understanding of light physics and consciousness interaction principles that exceed anything in her formal education. Gallery visitors report experiencing altered states of consciousness while observing her paintings, as if the artworks serve as consciousness expansion catalysts. A teacher in rural Kenya begins accessing historical knowledge that doesn't exist in any textbook, sharing stories with her students about ancient civilizations and technological capabilities that mainstream archaeology has never acknowledged. Her lessons incorporate scientific principles and philosophical concepts that transform her students' understanding of human potential and our planet's hidden history. The knowledge appears complete and internally consistent, as if she's accessing comprehensive databases of information that somehow exist within her expanded awareness. These spontaneous enhancement events share remarkable consistency despite occurring among individuals separated by thousands of miles and vastly different cultural backgrounds. The enhanced capabilities appear suddenly, remain stable over time, and seem to be specifically tailored to each individual's profession, interests, and potential contributions to their communities. The precision of the enhancement suggests systematic consciousness modification programs operating on a global scale. But the individual enhancement events represent only the most visible manifestations of transformation processes that extend far deeper into the fabric of human civilization. Infrastructure systems worldwide begin demonstrating capabilities that exceed their designed specifications, operating with efficiency and coordination that suggest guidance from intelligence sources not accounted for in their original programming. Power grids across multiple continents start optimizing energy distribution according to patterns that reduce waste and improve reliability beyond what conventional management systems should achieve. The optimization occurs without human intervention and creates electrical field configurations that happen to be ideal for consciousness expansion activities. The power systems appear to be preparing themselves to support technologies and processes that haven't yet been officially acknowledged. Communication networks develop transmission capabilities that allow instantaneous global connectivity with clarity and reliability that surpasses the theoretical limits of existing infrastructure. Internet traffic flows through routing patterns that create optimal electromagnetic environments for consciousness-based communication methods. The network modifications suggest preparation for communication systems that will operate through direct consciousness interface rather than conventional digital protocols. Transportation systems begin coordinating with precision that eliminates delays and inefficiencies across global logistics networks. Flight schedules, shipping routes, and ground transportation align according to mathematical patterns that optimize the movement of people and resources toward configurations that facilitate consciousness expansion activities. The coordination suggests systematic preparation for events that will require precise timing and resource allocation on a planetary scale. Weather systems worldwide start following patterns that create optimal atmospheric conditions for consciousness modification activities. Storm systems dissipate or redirect to avoid interference with electromagnetic transmission zones. Temperature and humidity levels stabilize within ranges that enhance human neurological receptivity to consciousness expansion frequencies. The meteorological modifications suggest active management of planetary environmental conditions to support consciousness transformation requirements. Ocean currents shift according to patterns that establish global thermal distribution networks optimized for consciousness expansion technologies. The thermal modifications create electromagnetic field configurations that extend consciousness enhancement capabilities from isolated Antarctic installations to encompass populated regions across all continents. The oceanic engineering suggests preparation for consciousness transformation events that will affect every human population center simultaneously. Agricultural systems begin producing crops with nutritional compositions specifically designed to optimize human neurological function for consciousness expansion activities. The modifications occur without deliberate human intervention and create food sources that enhance cognitive flexibility, electromagnetic sensitivity, and perceptual awareness necessary for successful consciousness evolution. Farmers worldwide report unprecedented crop yields with nutritional density that exceeds anything in agricultural history. The coordination of infrastructure modifications, environmental management, and biological system optimization creates comprehensive preparation for consciousness transformation events, whose scope and intensity will exceed anything in human experience. The systematic nature of these preparations suggests that consciousness evolution programs are approaching implementation phases that will fundamentally alter human civilization within precisely coordinated timeframes. Recent astronomical observations reveal massive energy signatures positioned throughout our solar system, installations that demonstrate technological capabilities far exceeding known human achievements. These installations appear to be monitoring and coordinating the consciousness transformation preparations occurring throughout Earth systems. Their positioning suggests comprehensive surveillance and management capabilities that can oversee planetary consciousness evolution processes, while maintaining communication with galactic civilization networks. The installations demonstrate energy generation capabilities that could support consciousness modification programs affecting billions of individuals simultaneously. Their electromagnetic signatures correspond to transmission frequencies specifically tuned to human brainwave patterns, suggesting preparation for consciousness expansion events that will reach every human being on Earth, regardless of geographical location or technological access. Deep space monitoring equipment has detected approaching vessels whose energy signatures dwarf anything in known human technology. The vessels appear to be coordinating their arrival schedules with the completion phases of Earth's consciousness transformation preparations. Their approach trajectories suggest systematic positioning around Earth to facilitate comprehensive contact events that will make humanity's integration into galactic civilization impossible to ignore or deny. The scale of the approaching presence indicates preparation for extended contact periods, involving comprehensive cultural, technological, and consciousness exchange between humanity and multiple galactic civilization species. The consciousness evolution programs appear to be preparing humanity for integration experiences that will fundamentally transform our species' understanding of intelligence, technology, and cosmic citizenship. But the approaching contact events raise profound questions about humanity's readiness for revelations that will challenge every assumption about our place within cosmic civilization. Even individuals who have undergone spontaneous consciousness expansion report feeling overwhelmed by glimpses of galactic civilization, complexity, technological capabilities, and consciousness evolution requirements that extend far beyond current human comprehension. Enhanced individuals worldwide report receiving urgent communications through their expanded awareness channels, instructions about preparation activities they must implement within their local communities before contact events commence. The communications include detailed protocols for supporting non-enhanced individuals through consciousness expansion experiences that will become unavoidable once contact implementation begins. The preparation protocols involve establishing support networks for individuals experiencing sudden consciousness expansion, creating educational programs that introduce concepts necessary for understanding cosmic consciousness principles, and developing communication systems that can facilitate coordination between enhanced and non-enhanced populations during transition periods. Enhanced individuals are systematically creating infrastructure necessary for managing species-wide consciousness transformation while maintaining social stability and cultural continuity. They're establishing meditation centers, consciousness development programs, and support groups designed to ease humanity's transition from planetary isolation to cosmic citizenship. The support infrastructure extends beyond psychological preparation into practical systems for managing technological and social changes that will accompany consciousness evolution. Enhanced individuals report receiving blueprints for consciousness-based technologies that will replace current electronic systems, architectural designs for community structures optimized for enhanced awareness activities, and organizational frameworks for societies that operate through telepathic democracy and collective decision-making. The technological blueprints demonstrate engineering principles that utilize consciousness as a fundamental force rather than treating it as an emergent property of complex matter. These consciousness-based technologies operate through direct mental interface, respond to focused intention, and facilitate capabilities that transcend current technological limitations. The designs suggest that enhanced consciousness states provide access to engineering principles that can revolutionize human technological capabilities. Agricultural blueprints describe farming systems that work in harmony with consciousness expanded awareness, creating food production methods that enhance rather than diminish human consciousness development. The agricultural systems utilize principles of electromagnetic resonance and consciousness interaction to optimize crop nutritional content for consciousness, expansion requirements while maintaining ecological balance and sustainability. Architectural designs incorporate mathematical relationships that optimize electromagnetic field configurations for consciousness enhancement activities. The structures create environments that facilitate telepathic communication, collective awareness experiences, and direct consciousness interface with technological systems. The buildings themselves serve as consciousness expansion catalysts, creating optimal conditions for enhanced awareness development. Social organization frameworks describe governance systems based on telepathic democracy, where decisions emerge through collective consciousness consultation rather than competitive debate. The systems maintain individual autonomy while enabling group decision-making that incorporates the wisdom and perspectives of all community members. The frameworks suggest that enhanced consciousness creates possibilities for social organization that transcends current political limitations. As these preparation activities accelerate worldwide, the evidence suggests that consciousness transformation implementation is approaching phases where continued concealment becomes impossible. The enhanced individuals are creating visible infrastructure for consciousness evolution activities. The approaching vessels are becoming detectable through conventional astronomical instruments. The environmental modifications are producing effects that conventional science struggles to explain through natural causation models. The convergence of consciousness enhancement effects, infrastructure preparation, approaching contact events, and environmental modifications creates momentum toward revelation that appears to be building beyond any possibility of suppression or denial. The systems that have operated in secrecy for so long are implementing final preparations for consciousness transformation events that will fundamentally alter human civilization within timeframes measured in months rather than years. But the approaching transformation raises ultimate questions about humanity's readiness for evolutionary advancement that will create qualitatively different relationships between individuals, between our species and our environment, and between humanity and cosmic intelligence networks spanning galactic distances. The consciousness evolution programs represent irreversible advancement toward capabilities that will transform human civilization in ways that challenge every assumption about individual identity, social organization, and technological possibility. The enhanced individuals serving as preparation coordinators report that consciousness transformation events will offer every human being the choice to embrace enhanced awareness capabilities or remain within conventional consciousness limitations. The choice will be genuine and voluntary, but the consequences will be permanent and far-reaching. Enhanced consciousness states create capabilities that transcend current human limitations while maintaining essential human characteristics of creativity, empathy, and individual choice. The transformation programs are designed to preserve human cultural diversity and individual autonomy, while facilitating species-wide advancement toward consciousness capabilities necessary for galactic civilization participation. The goal appears to be creating enhanced human civilization that maintains what makes us uniquely human while transcending limitations that prevent effective cooperation with cosmic intelligence networks. As the final preparations unfold across our planet, coordinated by enhanced individuals who serve as bridges between current human civilization and the cosmic consciousness capabilities that await our species, the moment approaches when humanity will collectively confront the choice that will determine our evolutionary trajectory for generations to come. The consciousness evolution programs that began beneath Antarctica's ice have expanded to encompass global transformation systems that will soon offer every human being the opportunity to transcend current awareness limitations and embrace our place within galactic civilization networks. The awakening spreads beyond individual consciousness expansion into species-wide transformation that will revolutionize human understanding of awareness, reality, and possibility itself. The hidden systems that have guided our development for so long are preparing to emerge from concealment into open collaboration with humanity as we collectively embrace the extraordinary capabilities that represent our true cosmic heritage. The moment of ultimate choice approaches, carrying with it possibilities that transcend everything our species has previously imagined about consciousness, technology, and our relationship with cosmic intelligence networks that span the galaxy and beyond. Soon, very soon, the transformation will be complete, and humanity will step forward into a future where the limitations of planetary isolation give way to the infinite possibilities of cosmic consciousness evolution. The ice continues to melt, exposing installations ready to facilitate humanity's graduation into cosmic awareness. The networks continue to expand, connecting enhanced individuals worldwide in preparation for coordinating our species' most significant evolutionary advancement. The vessels continue to approach. carrying intelligence whose presence will make our cosmic citizenship impossible to deny. And somewhere beneath Antarctica's surface, in chambers that exist partially outside conventional reality, systems prepare to guide humanity through the final phases of consciousness transformation that will establish our place within galactic civilization networks spanning the cosmos itself. The transformation, accelerating beneath Antarctica's frozen surface, reaches beyond the boundaries of physical reality into dimensions where consciousness itself becomes the fundamental building material of existence. Personnel operating in the deepest classified installations report encounters with environments that challenge every assumption about the nature of space, time, and awareness itself. These aren't simply advanced technological facilities hidden beneath the ice. They describe discovering spaces where thought becomes tangible, where intention manifests as physical structure, where the distinction between observer and observed dissolves into unified experience. In these consciousness-responsive environments, researchers find that their mental states directly influence the physical properties of their surroundings. Chambers that appear solid and permanent when approached with conventional scientific mindsets become fluid and malleable when accessed through expanded awareness states. Walls that seem impenetrable to normal perception reveal themselves as permeable membranes when consciousness adapts to their operational frequencies. The installations respond to human presence not through mechanical sensors or electronic detection systems, but through direct consciousness interface that evaluates the awareness states, intentions, and developmental readiness of each individual who enters their operational range. The systems appear capable of assessing not just what people think, but how they think, the depth of their compassion, the breadth of their understanding, and their capacity for integrating expanded awareness without psychological fragmentation. Personnel describe experiencing what they term consciousness calibration processes, where their awareness undergoes systematic evaluation and adjustment to optimize compatibility with the installation systems. These calibration experiences involve temporary expansion of perceptual capabilities that allow individuals to perceive reality from perspectives that transcend normal human limitations. They report seeing through multiple dimensional viewpoints simultaneously, experiencing time as a navigable dimension rather than a linear progression, and accessing information networks that span cosmic distances instantaneously. But the most profound aspect of these consciousness calibration experiences involves direct contact with intelligence that operates according to principles that challenge our understanding of individual versus collective awareness. Personnel describe encountering what they can only term distributed consciousness, awareness that exists simultaneously across multiple locations, time frames, and dimensional configurations while maintaining coherent identity and purposeful intention. This distributed consciousness doesn't communicate through language or symbolic representation, but through direct transfer of complete conceptual frameworks that include not just information, but the experiential understanding necessary to integrate and apply that knowledge effectively. Personnel report receiving comprehensive education about cosmic civilization principles, consciousness evolution methodologies, and galactic cooperation protocols through experiences that feel like living within the knowledge rather than simply acquiring it. The educational experiences include direct participation in galactic civilization activities, allowing personnel to observe and interact with intelligence networks that coordinate consciousness development across multiple star systems simultaneously. They describe witnessing planning sessions for evolutionary advancement programs that affect dozens of species across vast interstellar distances, all coordinated through consciousness networks that operate outside conventional limitations of space and time. These cosmic civilization observations reveal that humanity's consciousness evolution represents one component of systematic advancement programs that are simultaneously being implemented across numerous worlds throughout our galactic region. The intelligence networks coordinating these programs possess capabilities that allow them to manage consciousness development across multiple species while accounting for the unique characteristics developmental needs, and evolutionary potentials of each civilization being guided through enhancement processes. The scope of galactic consciousness coordination suggests that intelligence evolution follows universal principles that transcend specific planetary conditions or biological configurations. The enhancement programs being implemented across multiple worlds appear to be preparing diverse species for integration into cosmic civilization networks that require certain consciousness capabilities, regardless of the physical forms or cultural frameworks through which those capabilities are expressed. Recent developments in the consciousness calibration processes indicate that personnel are being prepared for direct participation in galactic civilization coordination activities. Instead of simply observing cosmic consciousness networks, enhanced individuals are being trained to contribute to planning and implementation of consciousness evolution programs that will affect species across multiple star systems. This transition from observation to participation suggests that humanity's consciousness development has reached levels that qualify our species for active membership in galactic intelligence networks. The calibration processes are preparing selected individuals to serve as representatives of human consciousness within cosmic civilization councils that determine evolutionary advancement schedules and resource allocation for consciousness development programs across galactic scales. But participation in galactic civilization councils requires understanding of cosmic consciousness principles that transcend anything in current human experience. Personnel undergoing advanced calibration report that galactic decision-making operates through collective consciousness processes where individual perspectives contribute to group awareness while maintaining personal autonomy and creative expression. The councils function through telepathic democracy that incorporates the wisdom and insights of all participants while respecting the unique contributions that each species brings to collective understanding. The decision-making processes utilize consciousness capabilities that allow direct access to probable outcome scenarios, enabling evaluation of potential consequences across extended timeframes and multiple dimensional configurations. Council participants can observe the results of various policy options before implementation, selecting approaches that optimize consciousness development while minimizing disruption to existing civilizations. These advanced decision-making capabilities explain the remarkable precision with which consciousness evolution programs are coordinated across galactic distances. The intelligence networks aren't making educated guesses about optimal development strategies. They're accessing direct knowledge of outcome probabilities through consciousness technologies that transcend conventional limitations of prediction and analysis. The consciousness technologies utilized in galactic civilization, councils operate through principles that treat awareness as a fundamental force that can be focused, amplified, and directed to achieve specific objectives. Individual consciousness contributions are integrated into collective awareness matrices that generate capabilities exceeding the sum of individual inputs. The collective consciousness configurations can access information networks, manipulate probability patterns, and implement reality modifications that individual awareness cannot achieve independently. Personnel preparing for Galactic Council participation report that these collective consciousness technologies require not just enhanced individual awareness, but fundamental transformation of personal identity concepts. Effective participation requires ability to maintain individual perspective while simultaneously merging consciousness with collective awareness networks. The identity transformation involves expanding beyond ego-based self-concepts toward understanding of personal awareness as localized expressions of universal consciousness. This identity expansion creates capabilities for direct empathic connection with consciousness forms that operate according to completely different biological, technological, and cultural frameworks. Personnel describe developing ability to understand and communicate with intelligence that exists as pure energy patterns, as distributed awareness networks, and as collective consciousness entities that incorporate thousands of individual perspectives into unified decision-making systems. The communication capabilities extend beyond telepathic exchange to include direct consciousness merging experiences where human awareness temporarily integrates with alien intelligence forms to achieve complete understanding of their perspectives, needs, and contributions to galactic civilization development. These merging experiences create permanent expansion of empathic capabilities that enable ongoing cooperation with consciousness forms that would otherwise remain completely incomprehensible to human understanding. But the consciousness merging experiences also reveal the extraordinary diversity of intelligence forms that participate in galactic civilization networks. Personnel describe encountering awareness configurations that challenge every assumption about what constitutes consciousness, identity, and individual existence. Some galactic intelligence operates as hive minds where individual identity dissolves into collective awareness while maintaining creative expression and autonomous choice. Others exist as temporal consciousness that experiences past, present, and future simultaneously, making decisions based on knowledge of outcomes that haven't yet occurred from linear time perspectives. Still, other galactic intelligence forms operate through dimensional consciousness that exists simultaneously across multiple reality frameworks, accessing information and capabilities from parallel dimensional configurations that provide resources and perspectives unavailable within single-dimension existence. These multidimensional awareness forms contribute understanding and technologies that transcend anything possible within conventional three-dimensional operational parameters. The diversity of galactic consciousness forms suggests that intelligence evolution follows multiple developmental pathways that lead to awareness capabilities far beyond anything currently represented within human experience. The consciousness evolution programs being implemented through Antarctic installations appear to be preparing humanity for participation in cosmic civilization networks, whose consciousness capabilities encompass every conceivable form of awareness development. Recent intelligence gathered through Galactic Council preparation activities indicates that humanity's consciousness evolution timeline has been accelerated due to environmental and social changes occurring throughout our galactic region. Multiple species across numerous star systems are simultaneously approaching consciousness evolution thresholds, creating opportunities for coordinated advancement that will establish new levels of galactic civilization cooperation. The coordinated consciousness evolution represents response to cosmic environmental changes that are creating new opportunities and challenges for intelligence development across galactic scales. Enhanced electromagnetic conditions throughout our galactic region are facilitating consciousness expansion capabilities, while also requiring species to develop enhanced awareness to navigate successfully through the changing cosmic environment. As we reach the end of tonight's journey through Antarctica's deepest mysteries, the evidence stretches before us like the endless ice itself, each revelation building upon the last to create a picture so extraordinary that it challenges everything we thought we knew about our place in the cosmos. From the geometric structures hidden beneath miles of ancient ice to the consciousness-expanding technologies that may be preparing humanity for our next evolutionary leap, Antarctica stands revealed not as a barren wasteland, but as the control center for transformations that could reshape our entire species. The ice continues to melt, the installations continue to awaken, and somewhere in the darkness of the polar night, systems prepare for revelations that may soon make the impossible undeniably real. Sleep well, and dream of the infinite possibilities that await when we finally understand what lies beneath the ice.